Hey guys, it's Miss Samantha with Virtual Garden Club again today. So today is the last garden activity that we'll be doing because this is the last week of Garden Club. But there is still a chance for you all to enter and to win the garden giveaway, the garden kit giveaway. It comes with like a cute pail, some trowels, and some other cute stuff. So be sure to look on our Facebook page to see how you can enter to win that. Today we are doing a plant dissection and learning about the different plants, the different parts that plants have and what their jobs are, because each of them have a very specific job, and it'll let us understand how the plant is able to grow like it does. So I'm going to give people just a minute. So on the supply list, I said all you really needed was some plants that have roots. If you don't really want to do this and you kind of just want to watch, that's fine too, because I know it's been raining a lot, so I had to go dig in my yard for some plants that had some flowers on them. They're not really opened up either because it's been so cold and wet. So if you'd rather just watch than participate, that's also fine. Or if you want to draw your own plant, you can do that too. Yeah, so I'm going to change the camera angle so you guys aren't just going to look at me. You guys are going to look at the plant. You guys going to get a nice view of my house. Okay. Okay, so it's kind of to the side, but we'll make it work. Okay, so what I did is I literally just got a trowel and I dug up some of these flowers. So these are like some little wildflowers that just grow in our yard. It's not something that we planted. Yeah, so this, I actually have not seen this before, but this is the root. It's really, really thick, and it kind of looks like these has like little bulbs on it. I'm trying to get some of the dirt off so you guys can see. So you can kind of tell that it has these little bulbs in it. Sorry, it's not focusing, y'all. Yeah. And then these, it normally has these cute little tiny purple flowers that open up, and there's some others in here that open up a little bit better, and I'll show you guys those. But when we're done, I'm going to go put these back outside because I don't necessarily need them in here. But so when we look at the plant, the first part is the root. So this root is kind of thick and it has the little notches in it. But then if you look really closely, it has some it looks like almost like little hairs. And those are also roots. So if I so this is just some grass. So I'll show you guys how it looks on here. So this is just like some grass that I pulled up when I pulled up the flowers, and see they kind of have longer roots. And if I were to stick this in water and not have any dirt with it, the roots would be white. But it's turned brown because it's been in the dirt. But yeah, so what roots do is they drink up the water from the soil and they move it up to the plant. So when you go to water a plant, you don't want to water it on the leaves because that's not where the water goes through the plant from. It comes through the roots. So when you're watering a plant, make sure you water it where the soil is or where the dirt is, so that the way the roots can drink it up, because the leaves have a different job. Their job is to not drink up the water. That's the root's job. So the root drinks up all the water, and it also helps the plant stay in place. So back to this little guy, because it has such a thick root, it's able to hold the plant in place for a really long time. So even if it's super windy, or if I decide to walk on the grass, like, it's thick enough that it is able to keep it steady and sturdy. Okay, so when we go up the plant, we have the stem. So the stem takes the water from the root. So it goes from the root and it travels up into the stem, and the stem continues to carry the water up to the leaves. So the stem acts as kind of like a little passageway and just kind of makes it travel up and down. The stem also holds the plant upright, so it makes it stay nice and tall. Because if we didn't have stems, then that means the flowers would and the leaves would just be right at the top of the root. I'm gonna change the angle for a second. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, So we have the root that drinks the water, and then we have, and it also holds it in place. And then we have the stem, and the stem makes makes the water travel all the way up. And the stem also holds the plant upright as well. So both the root and the stem are used to make water move and to hold the plant in place. Very important things. So next we have leaves. This one doesn't have any leaves. We're gonna pick this one up. This guy has a lot of little leaves. They kind of look like little 4-leaf clovers. But see, we got leaves right here. So leaves, like I said before, their job is to not drink water. Their job is to make food for the plant. And you guys probably heard this word called photosynthesis. And it's when they turn sunlight and sugar into food. So that's another reason why these leaves are green. So what they do is that the more leaves a plant has, the more food it's able to make. So that's why when you first have a plant, it only has a few leaves because it really doesn't need that much food yet. But the bigger it gets, the more leaves it'll make because it needs more food. So this guy, because I mean, he's not a very big plant. He's pretty tiny. He only has a few leaves because he doesn't need a ton of food, but the bigger he gets, he'll grow more leaves. So they make food between the water that comes up to the stem, the sunlight, and the sugar and the nutrients that are in the ground. And so that's the leaves' job. Very important. So if you rip off all the leaves off a plant, it's going to have a hard time growing. It'll eventually grow leaves back, but it's going to take a little while. Okay, I'm going to see if I can find... Okay, we'll just stick with this one. So next we have the flower, and I'm going to pick this off so you guys can kind of see. So next we have the flower. And on the inside, I'm trying to make it so it focuses, y'all. I'm really sorry. So on the inside, you can kind of see it's a little bit yellow. And that's where the pollen is. So flowers' job is they make seeds, pollen, and fruits. So this is not a fruit plant, though. So it is just going to make seeds and pollen. Okay, I pushed it open a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. So this is what it looks like when it's completely opened up. There we go. You can see it's a little bit yellow on the inside. That's where the pollen is. So as we talked about with the pollinators, bees and butterflies will come move the pollen and pollinate other flowers. So it'll make more of them. And it'll make more seeds so that more of these flowers can grow. If you have a fruit plant, so like tomatoes are a fruit, if you have like a tomato plant, what it'll do is it'll have, so tomato plants have little yellow flowers, so it'll make little yellow flowers. And then once a bee puts some pollen in there from like another tomato plant, the flower will actually shrivel up and die off. And then it will, so the flower will die off and then a tomato will grow in its place. So yeah, so when you see like a fruit tree, like you see apples, all of those apples were a flower at one point that died off and then turned into a fruit. So yeah. And so these are cute little purple flowers, and you see that tiny little bit of pollen that's on the inside. It's just ever so tiny. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So plants all have different looking roots because I mean, we talked about earlier, this one's kind of weird looking. I've never seen this. So plants have different roots. They have different types of stems. So like, I'll show you guys this plant I have here. So this is a succulent. I love succulents. They don't need a lot of water. But see, he's got really big, thick leaves. And he doesn't need a lot of water. His stems aren't as thick, or his roots aren't as thick as this. And he's not going to make flowers though. This plant doesn't make flowers. And then like I have this plant. It's also a succulent. It looks like it kind of has like little hairs on top. So different plants, they look different on the outside. And because they look different, because they're different plants, they're going to have different roots as well to help them stay in place. And they're going to have different stems too. So like this is my roommate's plant. And you can see this is a really good example of, that's a really, really thick stem where it would carry the water. And these stems are really, really thin. So it's just because they're different plants. So when you think about it, you see all these trees out here, because we got a lot of trees. I'm gonna move this back up so I'm talking to you guys. So when you think about trees having roots as well, they will have really, really, really thick roots. Because I mean, if you think about it, this little guy has this root. So can you imagine a tree that's like 40 or 50 feet tall? It's gonna have really, really thick roots because it's gonna need to drink more water, and it's gonna have super long roots. So it's gonna go way down into the ground and way out to the side so it can grab as much water as it can. Because the bigger it gets, the more water it can absorb. And if a tree just had roots that were this big and it got windy, it would fall over really, really easily. So different plants develop roots and stems that they need to survive. And trees need roots that go deep to hold them in place, and they go wide to hold them in place. But like these little guys, like if it's a little windy, it'll be okay. But you try to blow over a tree, it's not going to go anywhere because they got those nice thick roots. Yeah, so these were just some flowers that I found in my yard. Cute little flower. If you guys have any questions or anything else that maybe I didn't cover, let me know. And today is the last day of our garden activities. So I hope you guys enjoyed doing this with me. We would love to see pictures of your bean plant. I meant to go outside, but I think he's kind of saturated because it's pouring right now. I'm not going to go out right now. But let us know if your beans actually end up producing beans. I want to see. And did you cook them? How did you eat them? Did you like it? If you're growing any other fruits or vegetable plants, let me know. I want to see. Yeah, so that was our last little garden club. So when you're thinking about plants, think about how all of these different parts have a specific job. So like our body parts have very specific jobs too. So like our legs help us move and they help us stand up. Our hands help us grab things. Our eyes help us see. So like our body parts have different uses just like these do. Like I can't hear with my hand. That's not how that works. So like roots, so they drink the water, they hold it in place. The stem brings the water up to the leaves and it holds it in place. The leaves make food for the plant so it can keep growing bigger. Flowers make seeds, pollen, and fruits if it's a fruit plant. And then the last part technically are fruits itself, which if you have like a tomato and apple, peppers are considered a fruit too. They all have seeds on the inside. So the fruit's job is to protect the seeds so that when the fruit falls to the ground, it'll go into the ground and then it'll make a new plant. But yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed these videos. I've loved doing it and I'm excited to see y'all's pictures. Yeah. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and stay dry and stay safe.